Today, we're going to talk about some of the most incredible architecture you'll ever encounter. And no, it's not made of brick or stone. It's built inside our own minds. Those inner sanctuaries we create to find a little bit of peace in a pretty chaotic world. Seriously, think about it for a second. What's that place you go to in your head? Your go-to spot for just chilling out? Is it a real place? Something you've made up? Well, that image, whatever it is, that's our starting point today. And you'll see it's way more powerful than you probably think. So here's where we're headed. We're going to start with the mind's eye itself. Then we'll take a trip through science, modern therapy, ancient philosophy, and even spiritual practices, all to understand that quiet place you go to. And then we'll wrap up by looking at how you can build your very own. You know, for most of us, being able to picture things in our head is just a native capacity. We're pretty much born with it. But these images aren't just simple daydreams. You can almost think of them as little nature pills. A quick, powerful dose of calm that our minds use as a really sophisticated tool to build resilience. But why? Where does this even come from? Well, science has a fascinating idea that our favorite calming images aren't random at all. They might actually be a kind of blueprint, something hardwired right into our DNA from our deepest, most ancient past. It's all tied to this concept called the biophilia hypothesis. It's a fancy way of saying we have this built-in, instinctive connection to nature and other living things. It's the reason so many of us picture those wide-open, savanna-like landscapes, with open views, some trees for cover, and a source of water. For our ancestors, seeing a place like that didn't just mean, oh, this is nice. It meant survival. And we can get even more specific than that. It turns out our brains are fractal fluent. That just means we're naturally wired to love the repeating geometric patterns you see everywhere in nature. Think about the branches of a tree, the shape of a coastline on a map, or the edges of a cloud. Our minds can process these patterns so easily, so effortlessly, that just looking at them feels incredibly relaxing. So just how powerful are these patterns? Well, get this. Research shows that simply looking at natural fractals can lower our physiological stress levels by up to 60%. I mean, that is a huge impact from something as simple as a shape. Okay, so that's the deep evolutionary story, but let's jump forward to today. How is this ancient hardwired ability actually being used right now in modern therapy to help heal our minds? Well, therapists use this powerful technique called safe place visualization. It's a fundamental tool in really common and effective therapies like CBT, which helps people change their patterns of thinking. It's basically a structured way to tap into our mind's natural ability to create calm exactly when we need it most. And this is how it works, and it's absolutely brilliant. It's not just about seeing your safe place, it's about really feeling it. By focusing on all the sensory details, the warmth of the sun on your skin, maybe the smell of pine trees, the sound of water, you actually activate your body's soothing system. This kicks your parasympathetic nervous system into gear, which is your body's natural rest and digest mode. It's the perfect antidote to that fight or flight stress response. All right, from the therapy room of today, let's hop in a time machine and go back about 2,000 years to the world of ancient philosophy. Because the Stoics, they also believed in an inner sanctuary, but they saw it as a kind of fortress. The Roman emperor and philosopher Marcus Aurelius had a name for it, the inner citadel. He believed that no matter what chaos was happening outside, you could always retreat into your own mind to find this fortress, a space that is totally untouchable and free from interruptions. And for the Stoics, the end goal wasn't just a quick moment of calm. They were aiming for something much bigger, a state they called ataraxia. It's this deep, profound tranquility where you're completely undisturbed by what's going on around you. And how do you get there? By realizing that inside that fortress, you only focus on the things you can actually control, your own thoughts, your own judgments. It's a fortress built out of perspective, not stone. So we've looked at science and philosophy. Let's explore one more dimension. The spiritual one. In so many traditions around the world, these internal images aren't just tools for peace. They're seen as profound carriers of truth, a way to connect with something bigger. And you see this play out in such beautifully different ways. For instance, in the Ignatian prayer, the idea is to immerse all 5 of your senses into a sacred story, to really live it, in order to feel a connection with the divine. And then you have something like a Zen garden, which uses total minimalism, just rock and sand, to help you contemplate the vast stillness of the universe. One is rich and detailed, the other is stark and simple. but both are using imagery to build a kind of inner chapel. So after exploring all of these different blueprints, from our evolutionary biology to ancient philosophy and spiritual practice, let's bring it all back home. It's time to talk about your inner landscape and how you can consciously, actively cultivate it. As we've seen, your sanctuary can be, well, pretty much anything. It might be tapping into that deep biological memory of the savannah. It could be a carefully designed safe place, filled with all those sensory details. Or maybe it's a stoic fortress of the mind, a place of pure discipline. Or even a spiritual chapel for quiet connection. Whatever it looks like, this inner space isn't just an escape. It's an absolutely vital tool for living a resilient life. And all of this brings us to the final, and really the most important question. Knowing that you have the power to design this space, and knowing all the different blueprints from science, therapy, philosophy, and spirituality, what will you choose to build in your sanctuary?